apparently hot pursuit according to Vanquish the Foe. So,
and he's 7'3".
7'3" from Italy. That would be a huge get. They're trying to. It's really a desperate need that they're trying to fill right now. Everything else, we've got some shooters. What we need is some offensive rebounding ability and some defensive paint presence. That was kind of just not 100% there last season. And so I think that's definitely should be a big target for one of those remaining roster spots.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Hike the Y, a BYU Sports Podcast. And today we are getting back into it with BYU basketball. Now, BYU has filled 11 of their 15 roster spots for this upcoming season, and they are going to keep one open for AJ DeBonsa if he wants to come back. So BYU has most of their roster kind of finalized for this next season. So what we want to do is we kind of want to go over the roster, kind of go over everyone, and kind of analyze how good is this BYU basketball team going to be. But before that, we got some fan mail. Is that how you would like maybe describe it?
I think that, yeah, that works.
I mean, we were the ones that reached out. But if you guys are known, it's the phenomenon of the lover accounts. Each player will get a lover account. And it started with Drake May Lover. Actually, I don't know if it started with Drake May, but the one that I'm familiar with is the Drake May Lover account. And then it spread into college, especially BYU. So we have like Boop Watch. Everyone's familiar with that. A couple of other ones is we have a couple like Glazer accounts, like Nate Pickens Glazer. There's also another random one. I forget what his name is. Hold on, I'm just gonna look it up real quick because it's so funny, guys. I think it's just like the most hilarious bit, and they comment on videos and just say, "I love Kadeem Boop" or "I love Nate Pickens," and on a recent video, okay, here it is. It's the Elder Suarez Glazer.
What the Elder?
And it's just
as
like,
in the apostle for the Church of Jesus Christ.
As in the apostle. I posted a video, and it's half of Kadeem Boop's body, and I said, "Guess the player." And he posted Elder Suarez. Okay. And I've been following him, and he just says Elder Suarez on every post, and it's hilarious.
Does he like post anything?
Yeah, and it's just pictures of Elder Suarez, and it's like this one. There's motion at your front door, and it's Elder Suarez with a bunch of money. Like look up Elder _Suarez _Glazer.
Oh wow.
Anyways, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, we reached out to a couple of these to hear kind of what's been going on, and we heard from Aleksej Kostić fan accounts. And so we've never listened to this audio before.
Yeah, we haven't heard
live. Yeah, this is us reacting to it. We don't know what they're going to say.
Yeah, we don't know what they're going to say. We might cut it from the podcast. But this is from the #1 Aleksej Kostić fan account. I just gave him a couple of prompts, like, what's your thoughts about him leaving? Are you going to continue the account? I told him he could really say whatever he wants, but if it's bad, I'll cut it. So here we go.
I'm excited.
Hey guys, Kostić and Jory here. I think everybody remembers where they were when they hear or they heard about some horrible tragedy for the first time. For instance, when I heard that Aleksej Kostić was transferring from BYU, I was driving and I honestly felt like crashing my car. I mean,
Oh man.
I was devastated, to tell you the truth. I think in a lot of ways, him transferring is reminiscent of where we are in college basketball at this point. It is the Wild West when it comes to transfers and the transfer portal. But where I think his departure will hurt the Cougs the most is just in the continuity department. We've seen time and time again the teams that are competing at the forefront of college basketball and in sports in general are teams that have very strong roster continuity and guys that have been in the system and in that culture for a long, long time. Obviously, BYU's culture is really unique. I don't know about the
Oh, whoops, my phone turned off.
feasibility of the plug-and-play type model with BYU's vibe, BYU's culture. So Aleksej Kostić leaving is going to be tough for that because he has that experience. I don't know if he'd start this coming up year. I mean, obviously he should, but with the new shooters coming in the transfer portal, I could see why he thought about testing the waters elsewhere. I haven't seen him commit anywhere else, which gives me a lot of hope that he could return and be a nice sixth man or a nice backup wing shooter guard type spot. And just having him as a culture piece on the bench with Dawson Baker and Hadim Boop would really boost the floor of this BYU team tremendously, in my opinion. But regardless, my account will continue to operate. Obviously, I will be a lot more happy if he comes back to BYU, but wherever he goes, I will be monitoring his career with great interest. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Give it up to Aleksej
Okay,
Kostić.
there we go. Hey, that was pretty good. That was way better than I expected.
That was quality content right there.
He brought up a point that I didn't expect before. He's saying that he could potentially come back. Of course, there's always an opportunity for Aleksej Kostić to come back, but I was kind of sad that he was going to leave because he shoots really well from beyond the arc. He found his position on this BYU roster, and he ended up getting a starting position later on in the season. And so,
yeah, he did start.
I could see Kostić still coming back and being among some of the greater shooters. We did have a bunch of great shooters come to BYU, and that might be a reason why he's testing the waters elsewhere. But an example, Tyler Betsy shoots 40% beyond the arc. We also have Colin Chandler, who also shoots phenomenally. So maybe it's a possibility that Aleksej Kostić comes back and plays another season. We have talked about before that we think that he might be getting pushed out by Kevin Young, just because he wanted to stay in the first place. It's kind of suspicious. So what are you guys' thoughts about what Aleksej Kostić lover had to say?
That was a good take. I thought what he said was interesting about the continuity was interesting. And I do see that in college football a lot more. Like the Indiana team, that won the championship this last year, were most of the same guys that stayed from last year. But Michigan has had some players did stay, but they had Yaxel Lendenborg at the big forefront. He was a new transfer from UAB. So I just don't think that it's necessarily a continuity issue for the Cougs. I don't know if that's going to be the biggest problem with it. I don't know. That part didn't completely click to me. I do think he could come back, but I don't really know if he's not a high profile enough of a player to enter the transfer portal to try to get leverage like maybe Rob Wright may have. So I don't really know if he would stay, to be honest. I don't know. Kevin Young, I don't know if he got pushed out. That's the thing I don't know. It's Kevin Young is going to he's trying to build a team. We've talked about his team building abilities in the NBA and how he's trying to transfer that over here to the college game and how it's been working so far. I just don't see if he doesn't feel like Kostic's skill set can get us to where he wants to take us, then he will not. And that could be true of any other player too, where he will try to get somebody that has the talent that somebody's lacking on this team, be it Kostić or anybody else.
Yeah, I love Kostić, and that was a great point about continuity. I do think that it can be an advantage to have guys coming back, but nowadays it's not necessarily a disadvantage because every team is still learning how to play with each other. But then I just don't see an open spot for him on this BYU team. Like you're saying, Dawson Baker, Tyler Betsy, Dean Ruckert, Brooks Barr, these are guys that maybe some of these guys aren't going to get a bunch of minutes, but we have a decent bit of shooters on the team, and that's pretty much what Aleksej was. And so I hate to say it, but I just don't think that he's going to come back to BYU.
Yeah. But of course, we would love to have him.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he shouldn't come back. I think he'd still be in there.
Yeah.
But I think Kevin Young wants to keep guys like Dean Ruckert and Brooks Barr, instead of having them transfer after 1 year, and just having that availability to maybe get them some minutes early in the season and have them grow within the system. But yeah.
Yeah, because when we're looking on this upcoming roster, only 5 of the 10 or 5 of the 11 played, not necessarily played, but were on the roster last year because Nate Pickens didn't play, and I don't think Brody Kozlowski played.
He didn't.
He didn't. And Dawson Baker didn't play for most of the season, but Kadeem Boot played, and same with Rob Wright III. And so we are going to have a little bit of continuity was the word he used. But, I mean, I'd love to see Kostić come back because he has had that playing experience here at BYU. But I also do understand that it's a tricky situation. And I hope KY has a plan. That's the biggest thing. I hope KY knows what he's doing. And he's been in the NBA. He knows what he's doing, so...
I mean, also we need to talk about one of those roster spots that they're looking at filling. They're trying to fill it with a big man.
Yeah.
There's no secret about that. I mean, they were looking that we talked about last time. I totally just blanked on his name. Center from UConn.
Yep.
Eric Ribe.
Eric Riba or
Riba. Yeah, you're right.
But how it's not looking like that's going to be a guy that BYU will be able to get. But there are reports I was just reading about. There's a center, 7-footer from Italy. Named Luigi Swigo. I think I said that right. And they've been in apparently hot pursuit according to Vanquish the Foe. So
and he's 7'3".
7'3" from Italy. That would be a huge get. They're trying to. It's really a desperate need that they're trying to fill right now. Everything else, we've got some shooters. What we need is some offensive rebounding ability and some defensive paint presence. That was kind of just not 100% there last season. And so I think that's definitely should be a big target for one of those remaining roster spots.
Yeah, BYU doesn't want to pull a Kentucky here and miss out on all the big men. And so I'm really hoping they can get this guy because if they don't, they're going to have to be going third, fourth, fifth options. Mm-hmm. And I just don't want to see BYU struggling at the big man position again like last year.
Yeah. Some rumors right now going on online is like, some people are saying, do we really need a center? And I think the answer is yes. A lot of people are saying, let's put...
Who is saying do we not need a center? Who's saying we don't need a center?
I just want to say...
Interesting opinion.
I've seen a couple of threads on social media where people are saying, just keep Kadeem Boop in because he's got the energy and he has the passion. I don't think Kadeem Boop is going to be a kind of player that could go up against someone like Mustafa Thiam.
Anyone in the Big 12.
Anyone in the Big 12. And
I mean, I love Kadeem Boop, but like,
we saw against
as
Texas...
a center?
We saw against Texas, we had a 6'9" center going against a bigger guy from Texas, and they destroyed us in the front court. Yeah. Absolutely destroyed us. So we definitely need to pick up a guy like Luigi, 7'3", 240 pounds, and from what I understand, he's playing professional basketball overseas in Italy, and he'd be a great addition to BYU.
Yeah, he's right now ranked in the top 50 of available prospects for the NBA draft. So he's considering whether he should go to the NBA draft or take the college route as well. So that would be a huge get.
So big.
Well,
for the Cougs.
And a player like that would be able to kind of prosper here in Provo, having a mentor like Kevin Young. Because Coach Kevin Young, he has that NBA experience. And we saw that's why AJ DeBonsa came here to BYU in the first place, because he wants that kind of NBA mentality, NBA help to get to the next league.
Yeah, and I think I was thinking about it like big men in BYU. The last one that I really remember being like an impactful big man, they had Matt Harms, 2020, the COVID season that we didn't get to play in the NCAA tournament. But that was a deep BYU team. He won West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year, and he was just 7'3", this guy from the Netherlands, and he was just unbelievable. Like stat-wise was not like the biggest impact, but it was his presence was there. And so to have another 7-footer, over 7-footer would be insane again to help just the paint presence, and their statistical impact may not be felt, but you'll see it on the scoreboard at the end of the night.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like BYU's had a really good history with centers, at least the last couple that I can remember that were just great on the offensive end. Fousseyni Traore for the last 4 years before this, and then Yoli Childs. Yoli Childs was like my favorite basketball player growing up, because that's just the guy I'd watch, and he was amazing for BYU. And so I think BYU just really needs a guy with a big presence and then someone who can score, because they just did not have that this year.
And you don't need much points from that center position. Like, if you could get 10 points, that's phenomenal, and that's kind of what Luigi is. He averages about 8.1 points a game in the last season that he played. And over the last 3 seasons, he averages about 7.6 points. That's the kind of player that we need on the team. Someone who can just be a big man, get a couple of defensive stops, maybe scare some people in the paint a little bit, get a couple blocks a game, but then get 10 points on the board, kind of help this BYU team out. because this last season, it kind of felt like watching the stat board throughout the game. It's AJ DeBonsa, Rob Wright, and then random shooters select your favorite here. And like Kadeem Boop and Davis, they were really good defensive players, but they weren't able to score 10 points. And that kind of maybe that pressure kind of built up throughout the whole season.
Yeah. All right. Do we have another audio clip from the Kostić lover accounts, or are we moving on?
We do if we want to.
What do you think?
Sure.
Let's
we
run
might as well go for it.
Why not?
You know, I had a lot of thoughts of Kostić leaving. You know, it could be Kevin Young pushing him out, you know, knowing that there's other people coming in that would be in a spot, or the way college basketball is now, you know, NIL is a big part. So I don't know if other schools have offered him a lot of money to go play somewhere else, or it could just be him thinking to himself that there's other opportunities somewhere where they could help him have better chances of going to the league, you know. It could be one of those. I don't really know, to be honest, but you know, I'm gonna continue this account wherever he goes.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
There we
I'm
go.
hoping he stays somewhere, you know, close so I can go watch him, of course. But you know, people can find my content here on Instagram on my Kostić Lover account.
Gotta get that little promotion.
I told him they could
Respect it.
Kostić is just a fun player to watch, in my opinion. You know, he can knock down shots, and I think he did pretty good this year for his role as a freshman too. I mean, playing on the same team as AJ, it's just like, and Rob, you know, you're
Whoops. Oh, my phone turned off.
not going to get as many touches, but I feel like when he got the ball, he did pretty good, you know, stepping up in big games. I mean, against Arizona.
Yeah.
What did you?
My first thought from listening to that audio was like, did he just get back from a run or something?
He was like,
Because he's breathing so heavily. But he has like some good, I guess he has some good takes. And I do hope Kostić stays close.
I do.
And that we can maybe see him. Maybe I'd love if
In
he
the Big
played
12.
against BYU. Like, I'd be cheering for him. But yeah.
It'd also be interesting to see if like a team like Utah picks him up, because Utah, they ended last in the Big 12.
Utah needs some help.
They need some shooters. They had a bunch of people leave, you know. So maybe Aleksej Kostić just moves just a little south, north.
I hope he doesn't go to Utah.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't
Anywhere
go to Utah
else.
either.
Oh,
But
please, anywhere else.
maybe he goes to UVU. UVU.
We won't play UVU.
That'd be sick.
I'd love to see this collab happen between the two Kostić accounts,
Oh.
and I'd also love to see a Kostić Hike the Y collab. So Kostić lover accounts unite. Come on the podcast. We'd love to hear from you guys.
That's so true. So true.
Kostić lover accounts unite is a crazy line.
I never thought that's never been said in the English language.
You know what? That's probably true.
All right.
Yeah,
I think we
let's go,
I think
yeah.
we spent enough time talking about Aleksej Kostić, and we love him, but he's not on the BYU roster anymore. So let's move over to some guys who are on the BYU roster. Nate, you kind of want to explain what we're going to do here?
Yeah, guys. So we have a list of about 11 players on this current 2026 roster, and we just wanted to go one by one and give them a rating. If you guys are familiar with NBA 2K, what they do in NBA 2K is they rate the players on the score out of 100. So 100 is reserved for like the GOAT, like LeBron James. And then there's also like lower spots. Like I think Steph Curry's like a 96 and really phenomenal player. And then some
Is
of the other
LeBron
people,
actually 100 or is he like a 99?
No, I
Because
think
it was
LeBron's
my
not 100
understanding that
right
you couldn't
now.
have 100
He's not
overall.
100.
99 is the highest.
He's
that
probably like a
go
70 at this point.
On like the base players, the 99 is the highest you can go.
I just looked up who's the highest in 2K.
It's going to be Shea, I bet.
It's Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who both start with a 98 overall rating. And then the legends, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar have a 99 overall.
There you go.
Well,
Cool.
I blasphemed a little bit. Oh, Victor Wembanyama is a
Wemby.
94 to 97 overall range for
Yeah.
NBA 2K. So, like, that's an example.
That's what we're looking at, yeah.
A 94 to 97 is a Victor Wembanyama. And then also, like, a 99 is like LeBron James. Sorry, I had to say it like that one. Wembanyama.
All right. Well, I have a list. Do we want to just go through every player on the roster?
Wait, hold on. I just want to say this last thing. How you calculate it with like height, skill attributes like shooting, defense, and athleticism, and then like weight. So that's kind of like some things we need to be thinking about. And then where would you put them?
What is the
roster?
weight to score ratio? Because if you're like 500 pounds, that can't be good.
Yeah, no.
But if you're like 50 pounds,
It also
is it
not
just
good.
like a try?
Somebody
sorry.
do
Just
the
gonna rate
math.
them with
just messing
2K.
around.
Somebody do the math.
Just the 2K ratings. 90s means they're really freaking good. 60s means they're like mid.
Yeah, 60 to 90 range.
Between there ish.
Nice.
Let's go,
Okay, so let's start with the first one, guys.
brother.
Awesome.
Start with Robert Wright.
Rob Wright the third. Where would you
Robbie.
put Rob Wright the third?
I would put Rob at an 85.
Yeah, I'm liking.
I think
That
Rob
range.
he's got the ball handling. He's got like 90s. Like they do like individual attributes too that they'll rate. I think he's got like 90s, something in the 90s on ball handling. But he also like sometimes will go cold shooting, and I think that keeps him from being in the 90s. I don't want to just like lose my head and say like a 95. I think 85 because he's a good shooter, but he's not like he had some high turnover games or some low point output games. But I think he's overall an 85.
Yeah, I really like that 85 rating. And he's, like you were saying, he's shifty, but he's also a shooter.
Yeah.
Like, he can knock it down. He was BYU's best by percentage three-point shooter last year. And so he's a great shooter. I would say that 85, his defense just isn't as good as it could be, especially for a small guard. Like, you really need to have good defense if you want to play in the NBA. So I really like the 85 rating for Rob.
Yeah, I'm liking like 82 to 87, like that kind of range, just because Rob Wright can score. And he struggles against taller people. We saw that against Texas. We saw that against UCF. But he can get about 30 points a game, 20 points a game. He can shoot the ball from beyond the arc. He's also really good at free throws. If you remember last season, he was in the running for the best free throw shooter at BYU on the roster. He's a phenomenal free throw shooter. He's shifty. He's quick. He's lacking in height. That's something he can't really change, unfortunately. I think if he was taller, I'd give him a higher rating. But I'm liking like a mid 80s. So
All right. Sweet.
Rob
Yeah,
Wright the third.
who's our next guy? My list is completely messed up.
Dawson Baker.
Ooh.
Dawson.
I love Dawson Baker. I give Dawson, I think he's right under Rob Wright at this point.
Really?
I give him like an 83, 84. I love him. I think his impact is more as a veteran presence and kind of a shooter who can kind of shoot from the three mid-range and get to the basket. And he's a decent defensive player. I just don't think he can take over a game in the same way that Rob Wright can. And he also has an injury history, so I'm just worried that he's going to have to miss some games. So right above 80 for Daw,
Really?
for me at least.
Dawson Baker averages 7.5 points a game, 1.7 rebounds, shoots about 45%, and he's 6'4", 190. I think I might have already said that. But you look back to 2021, averaging 10 points, his best season, 2022 to 2023, scoring about 15.3 points a game, and then these last couple seasons, about 7.5. I don't see him. I haven't really been able to see him play. I was on my mission for. Did he play for BYU 2 seasons ago?
Yeah. He's just been injured a lot.
I just haven't been able to see him. I don't like him in the 80s range. I like Rob Wright being a high 85 or like at 85. I could see Dawson Baker being like a 75 range. I just don't see him being as good as Rob to be like in the 80s range. But he is pretty tall for his position, being a guard, 6'4". That's a pretty decent size, 190 pounds. And he can shoot. So I would give him that range.
I think I would
That's
too.
fair.
Yeah, about there.
Yeah, maybe I might be overrating Daw a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just
Dawson Baker.
knows, bro?
He
I
owns
think-
the Dawson Baker lover account, guys. Give it up.
hey, that'd be kind of fun to start. But yeah, I like how Dawson Baker came to BYU and he's been injured for most of his time here, but he's kept up the energy, and he's kept up the drive to help his teammates out and stuff like that. And I really think BYU is going to need him this year because no other player on the roster has like that veteran presence. It's only Daw at this point. So yeah.
Okay, next up, Kadeem Boop. I'll just get it out for us. 99.
Okay.
No, in all honesty, I would give a Kadeem Boop about a mid-70s grade as well, just because. You know what? I'll put a number on it. 72.5. Because
They don't do decimals, do they?
no, they don't. Okay. Just like a 72. Kadeem Boop, he can get rebounds. We saw it earlier in the season. He can't score. I think this season, one thing that Kadeem Boop could focus on is turning rebounds into points. I love his defense. His defense is really high in my books, but I'd love to see him kind of make some big plays and just score a little bit more. Get second chance points is what he does best, and I wish he could get a little bit more.
Okay. I'm going to say, I think, I was thinking about like back when I did play a lot of 2K, and like they had like, you have like Kyrie Irving, like his normal base, and then they have like Mass Kyrie, where he's like, they like just absolutely like bump his stats so much, and like they give him like normal Kyrie will be like an 83, and then like Mass Kyrie is like a 93 or 97. Yeah, I was thinking like Boop needs one of those. It's like normal Boop, I would put him at like a straight up 70, but then like Boop against Iowa State or Texas Tech, like Boop against a top 10 team at home, and I'd put him at like an 83. Like I think that's like a big difference. Like the games that he popped off in, he was really good when he's just like when he took over defensively and was playing like floor to floor, playing baseline to baseline. That was super impressive, and that deserves like a higher rating than just like a 72. But then the other games, pretty much like against any other team, I'd see like a solid 70. I feel like he just has like two different personas that deserve different ratings.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Kadeem Boop is one of those guys that if you're playing 2K and you've been playing for a while and you get kind of bored, and then you're like, you know what, I'm just going to like shoot half-court shots. Or like, I'm just going to shoot with like my worst shooter on the team. Like Kadeem Boop is like the guy you just start spamming shots with, and then when something finally goes in, you just get super excited. But yeah, I don't think he's an amazing player. I actually think he's quite terrible offensively. And I give him a 68 just because he can guard 1 through 5. Like you could, I remember against Texas Tech, he was on Christian Anderson, and then
he was on him. He was covering the length of the floor. And he was
like hitting the floor, like getting hyped. And then he was also guarding like the Texas Tech big men. And so it's like this guy is such an asset on the defensive end. And then when you go to the other side of the floor, you can like almost not even trust that he's going to be able to keep the ball for like 5 seconds before turning it over. So I love Kadeem Boop. If he can start hitting some shots on the offensive end and figure that out, he is going to be such an asset to BYU.
Yeah, love Kadeem Boop. Anyways, quick interruption.
It's been terrific. And a chance now to send it over to David Aldridge, standing by courtside.
What is this?
Thanks very much. Here with Frank.
Nah, we're skipping that, John.
You skip David Aldridge, bro.
I don't want to listen to David Aldridge. Silent reporting.
That's a 2K tradition to skip David Aldridge, bro.
You got to skip David Aldridge. I feel bad for David. Anyways.
I think he even made a meme about it one time. He's like, even I skip myself playing 2K.
Anyways, let's go to the next player. Nate Pickens, a player that we have not seen play this last season.
Yeah, Nate Pickens is a really interesting one because, like you said, like he came to BYU, but he did not play for BYU. And he actually played against BYU 2 years ago when he was at UC Riverside. And from what I've seen of him, I feel like he's a less shifty and more physical Robert Wright, who can kind of create his own shot from 3, from mid-range, and then kind of bully smaller guards and get down low. And so he's good on the offensive end. I'd give him like a 77, 78. And I'm hoping that he shows out, he plays good defense this year for BYU, and that we can bump up his rating like mid-season.
Yeah, I think that I like that. I think looking at like, you know, before missing all of this last year, he's played almost 100 games in his entire career already. So he's got a little bit more of that veteran. He's not no Dawson Baker 6 years in 6 years in college, but he's been around the block for a while, and I think that definitely could attribute to it. I honestly haven't seen him play in person either, but I'd say, you know, I'd put him at like a solid 72 with room to possibly improve when this next season starts.
Oh yeah,
9.8 points per game, 3.5 rebounds. From what I understand, he's a very physical player. That's kind of what the scouting report is always saying. He's just the kind of guy like what Brandon was saying. Is kind of like a Rob Wright that's a little less shifty, but he can get a couple and ones. He can get to the rack and score. So I'm really excited to see Nate Pickens pop off this season. I see the potential. Because I see the potential, I'm going to give him like a 72. Mm-hmm. I don't see him becoming like a phenomenal player immediately, but I'm saying if we do this same conversation in a year, I could see him in the 80s range. I could see him being one of those players that we just love seeing the ball. You know, when you see a player, you're like, oh, please pass the ball.
Give him the ball.
I think I could see Nate Pickens being one of those players like, okay, give the ball to Nate Pickens. I want to see him bully some people. You know, so
yeah.
Shout out to Nate Pickens. Okay, next is Brody
Kozlowski.
I actually have no idea who this person is. I'll be 100% honest. I know we're supposed to be like really knowledgeable about BYU sports. I have no knowledge about Brody Kozlowski, but he's a 6'8" forward from Draper, Utah. Sophomore in college, averages 0.9 points a game and 0.4 rebounds. I have he's played 3.2 minutes in 2024 to 2025. And other than that, I don't think he's ever, he's played against FAMU, scored 8 points. I have no idea who he is. I haven't been able to find videos of him playing basketball. So, do you guys know anything about him?
Yeah, I was able to watch him the tiniest bit last year or 2 years ago at BYU, because I was here. I don't know how much I saw him, but I do remember the 8-point game. He made 2 threes. I think he made them from the corner, and he got a bucket down low. And they weren't playing against a good team, but I have seen a little bit of his college highlights or his high school highlights, where honestly he looks like a player who his game might not translate to college as well. And he's also hasn't played basketball for 2 years, because the year before he was mostly just sitting on the bench, and then last year he was injured. So I'm not sure what we're going to get out of Brody Kozlowski. But fun fact, his mom, Christian Kozlowski, is a color analyst for ESPN and BYU TV Sports.
Oh, really?
So the halftime shows, you see his mom. So I'm sure she's cheering him on. And I'm hoping he can be an asset for BYU next season.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with him, because I have no idea what to expect from him. He could be a bust, or he could be one of the best players on the team. No idea. Do you have anything, Connor?
Honestly, I have not seen him play, so I don't really know.
Okay.
Put him in a solid, give him a 66, and then he can bump it up, because that's what they also do is adjust the ratings mid-season, right?
Yeah.
Because when you have the 99s at the beginning of the season, they start petering out. They'll drop their rating a little bit, or they'll boost it for those that do really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, next up, Colin Chandler averages 9.7 points a game, 3 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and shoots 43.5% from field goal. Where do we have Colin Chandler? I think he's most famous for dunking.
Yeah.
Over was it Clemson? I forget who they're playing, but Kentucky
he
had a crazy dunk at Kentucky. I loved seeing him play against Kentucky. I was personally cheering for Kentucky in the postseason. But he's a pro. He's not a Provo kid, but he's from Farmington, Utah. 6'5", 205 pounds. I think he's able to be another one of these players, like what I said about Nate Pickens. He can score. Mm-hmm. He's one of these guys that can get to the basket and he can score points.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
He can body people, but yeah, I'm excited to see how he plays here at BYU. He played for Coach Pope, and now he's back here in Provo City, Utah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this year he can kind of be like a more efficient Kennard Davis, where he shoots better. He plays pretty good defense, especially his perimeter defense. And I hope he can keep that up. And then I also really hope he continues to drive to the basket and get down low, because that's what BYU needs. They need driving kicks. They need
a triple
motion
threat
on the offense, especially without a player hopefully not. But if AJ DeBonta does not come back, BYU is not going to have necessarily a go-to guy that can just get a bucket any time of the day. because you have Rob Wright who can do that. You have Dawson Baker who can create, but AJ was a generational guy who can just create his own shot. And so I think this BYU team is going to need a lot of movement, and Colin Chandler can kind of hopefully be a driving force in that. So I'll give him a 79. How about that?
79.
79 for Colin Chandler.
With hope.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think there's room for improvement. I would like to give him a 75, like that 75, 79 range. I could see him becoming a 79 at the end of next season. He shoots 41% from three. He has previously shot 34% from three. I could see him getting better or staying around the 43 or 41% range here at BYU. He could become one of those players, but I'm just excited to see if he is actually this triple threat at BYU or if he's just a double threat. I don't know.
A double threat.
Just
There
a
you
threat
go,
in general.
Yeah, dude. I'm going to put him at like a 77, just for the same reasons y'all said.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, well, we're at 40 minutes now, guys.
Do we have to cut out the podcast?
We still have Jake Wallen, Tyler Betsy, Bruce Branch III, Dean Ruckert, and Brooks Barr. Most of them are freshmen and transfers, and one of them is a freshman RM. I think we might have to do this another time, unfortunately. Do you want to do
See
it?
that.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another episode?
That's a good call, Nate.
I feel like this is a good stop.
That's a great
good
call.
stopping point.
It keeps people on their toes.
Yeah.
Keeps you
They want to
listening
come back for the next
They
episode.
wanna
You
come
want
back for
the
the-
next episode.
And maybe we will be talking about Luigi Suijo. Suijo.
I don't know how to say
Next
it. I
time.
feel so American when I try to say his name.
Yeah.
Luigi. Just imagine the memes.
Luigi, bro.
Imagine the memes that if there's a Luigi in Provo
Mario
City.
and Luigi, and it's just Rob Wright throwing lobs, bro.
To
That
Luigi?
would be so lit.
Oh my goodness. There's so much potential. Luigi, if you're
Come
hearing
here,
this,
bro.
come to BYU. I will personally greet
Careful.
you.
Okay. I was like, what? He's going to personally what?
I will contribute $5 to your NIL money.
I will
I
take
will buy
from
a
your
box
NIL.
of crumble cookies just so you can come here.
Yeah, everyone buy some crumbles so we can keep AJ DeBonta and bring Luigi here.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the episode today. If you guys want to
Let's go.
hear more about some of these BYU basketball players that are going to be here next season, especially Bruce Branch III, one of the
Yeah,
top
Bruce
prospects
Branch.
in the class, you got to
Listen
listen
next
to the
time.
next episode. We've got some great content coming at you.
Heck yeah, if you're a BYU student.
I'm sorry. That felt... I'm never saying that again.
That felt so clickbaity.
No, bro. Hey,
Yeah.
but good luck with finals if you're a BYU student or just any college student listening
Yeah.
to this. If you're at another college and you're listening to us, come here.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Unless you're from Utah. Anyways.
All right. Anyway, y'all, see ya later.
Yeah.
Go dogs.
Dogs.
Sick 'em.